We're going to explore where are people moving and migrating to, whether it be for retirement or a better climate, and also some of the benefits of those areas. So stay tuned for our full segment. Welcome back. This is Richard with Wisdom Investor. We're going to take a look at where people are moving to. Baby boomers are retiring and moving to different parts of the United States. People are relocating for their job, and others are looking for a better climate. So we're going to look at where people are relocating and migrating to, and also look at some of the benefits of those areas. We're looking at a map of the United States. United Van Lines analyzed their data to find out what states people are moving to and what states people are moving out of. This map was completed January of 2022. Let's look at the legend here. The states marked in dark blue are high inbound states where people are moving to, and the states in the gold are high outbound states where people are moving out of. We can see in the southeast, a lot of people have moved to states in the southeast, including Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, also South Carolina. Interesting enough, Maine saw an increase in people moving to Maine, and also the state of Vermont had an increase, as well as Rhode Island and Delaware. South Dakota increased, and then the Pacific Northwest, we saw Idaho and Oregon states increase in population. Outbound states were states like California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Connecticut. Massachusetts saw people leaving their state, as well as New Jersey, Ohio, Kansas, and Nebraska, along with Louisiana, saw people leaving those states. We're looking at the top 10 list of states that saw an increase of people moving into their state. Interesting enough, on the list last year in 2020 was Arkansas and Arizona, but those two states are not on the top 10 list. And states that were added to the top 10 list of people moving into, Rhode Island, West Virginia, and Vermont saw an increase of people moving to their state versus last year. We're looking at the states that saw an increase of people moving out, and we have as newcomers to this list Nebraska, Louisiana, and Michigan. So we saw some interesting data there. It was interesting to note that Maine and Vermont increased this year, so most likely people moving out of high tax states like New York and New Jersey. Let's also take a look at some census data and see if we get similar results. We're looking at U.S. Census data here. This is the net domestic migration. Keep in mind, in each one of these states, there's people moving in and moving out. You can see here that Florida led the way on migration in, along with Texas, Arizona, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Idaho, Utah, and Nevada. The top 10 outbound states: Michigan, Minnesota, Hawaii, Maryland, Louisiana, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Illinois, New York, and California. The chart here shows the United States broken down into 4 different regions. You can see people moving out of the Northeast into the Southeast, people moving out of the Midwest into the Southeast, and also people moving out of the West into the Southeast. Keep in mind, some of the Northwestern and also like Arizona, they have increased in population, but there's so many people. Matter of fact, about 1% of the population in California is moving out, and so that's kind of distorted this on the West Coast side. We're not going to look at all these categories, but we're going to break down about 4 of them here. If we look at state local tax burden, you'll see that people that moved into these particular states, if we go all the way out to the right, it says the average for the inbound is 7.69%. However, the average for the people moving out was 9.9%. So people were moving to states with lower local tax burden. Also, top state individual income tax. If we look out to the right, the average inbound states had a 3.8% state income tax. The outbound states had a higher state income tax. So people are trying to move to areas that have a lower state tax. Let's look at the electricity cost, utilities. If we go out to the right, the average for the inbound was 9.63. And if we look at the outbound, the utilities cost more in the outbound states, 15.74. If we look at annual employment growth, and if we compare that, employment growth in the inbound states was 4%, and we had a lower employment growth in the outbound states. So it's very interesting. Now, looking at the bottom, if we take a look at the median home price and go out to the far right here, we'll find that the average outbound was $423,000. The average for people moving in was $343,000, about $80,000 less in the states that people were moving into. So the cost of living in the outbound states is apparently higher, with taxes being higher, utilities, and the cost of real estate. So there's a lot of reasons people are moving to different states. It could be retirement, it could be their job, it may be they're just looking for a warmer climate. There's still a lot of people moving to the south for warmer climates, but we did see something interesting here. People are moving out of these states where the cost of living is higher into the lower cost of living states to live. So if you have any questions here, leave your comment. Appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for our next update.